2 hours. That's how long this game has to impress me enough to keep playing. Otherwise, it gets refunded through Steam's 2-hour refund policy. So, let's see if it has what it takes to pass the test. This is the Steam Refund Review. I have never played Undertale until doing so for this review. So let's talk about it. Undertale is a 2015 indie RPG with a twist. You don't have to kill a single enemy. And it's one of those games that it seems like anyone who knows anything about video games has heard about. Don't get me wrong, I definitely know of this game, but I have never personally played it myself, and I've always wanted to experience what so many others say is a masterpiece of a game. I will admit that I'm not going in 100% blind, as I know some of the characters and have heard some music from its fantastic soundtrack, but otherwise, I'm pretty clueless as to what this game has to offer. Also, it's worth noting that this game was, as far as I know, made entirely by a solo developer, Toby Fox. So the Steam description for Undertale reads, Undertale, the RPG game where you don't have to destroy anyone. That's probably the shortest Steam description I've seen, but hey, it's straight to the point and it gets the job done. The idea of playing an RPG where you don't actually have to kill anything is pretty exciting to me and makes me wonder how exactly it can be accomplished, but I suppose we'll find out. Now, full disclaimer, this review might be a little biased because RPGs are my favorite genre in the biz, and I love the retro look that I can already tell this game has, so I already know that this game's likely going to be right up my alley. And this game, like I said, is very well known amongst gamers. As far as I can tell, you either love it or you hate it. I've seen a lot of YouTube comment sections and top 10s videos question why on earth Undertale made the list, and on the contrary, I've also seen many gamers say that this is one of their all-time favorite games. So let's find out what side of the spectrum I'll land on after these first 2 hours of gameplay. So jumping in here, the game shows a short intro that is simply done by showing some cool pixel art and text on the screen. During this intro, the main character of this game is shown falling into a hole in which they get stuck, and that hole is apparently the realm of monsters. Immediately after this cutscene, I guess, you walk into a room with a nice-looking friendly flower who wants to share its love with you. When I tried to accept his love, however, he tried to kill me, immediately instilling a sense of distrust for NPCs in the player. Now that's a proper way to start an RPG. After this encounter with Flowey, as he calls himself, the game throws you into the tutorial where you meet Toriel, who helps guide you through the beginning of the game and teaches you basic game mechanics. Do you get it? She's the tutorial character and her name is... Okay, yeah, you get it. I thought it was pretty clever. So Toriel helps you through the starting area of the game that she calls the Ruins prior to apprehensively releasing you into the real world so that you can make your way home. I can tell pretty quickly that this will be a very dialogue and humor-heavy game with not as many gameplay elements maybe. However, I thought the combat in this game was exceedingly clever. We'll get into that later. I already love the humor this game throws at you around every corner, and I like how cleverly the game is able to both progress the story and teach you how to play through its tutorial. Honestly, I wish more games would have tutorials like this where instead of being bombarded with text boxes while pausing the game unannounced, there's an active dialogue and combat that an NPC walks you through. Let's go ahead and break down exactly what it is you learn in this tutorial though, so that we can see if the gameplay is any good. So the gameplay, as mentioned earlier, consists of a lot of dialogue. There are also some random encounters that will throw you into combat, some fun but relatively simple puzzles, and some light exploration. I want to take a second to highlight the combat in this game though, as it's extremely unique and very engaging. So this is a turn-based combat system, but instead of a basic JRPG where you pick a move and then you do damage, you have a choice to essentially make friends with the enemies by selecting the right dialogue options in combat, which can lead them to essentially surrender. Each enemy type seems to have different personalities and different ways in which they can be coerced into giving up the fight. I quote-unquote fought this one guy who wanted me to notice his cool hat, so if you choose to ignore him for a couple turns, he'll get annoyed and surrender. Another encounter that I really enjoyed was a dog who would surrender if you just gave him some pets because, well, he's a dog after all. Each fight is basically a mini puzzle to figure out how to talk your way out of combat based on the enemy's personality. That is, if you want it to be that way. You do also get the option of fighting enemies just as you would in a normal RPG, which is much more simple and less interesting. If you do choose to fight, there's a bar that will appear on the screen where you have to time your hit to align with the middle of the meter to do the most amount of damage. I only did that once in my first 2 hours of gameplay though, and if I continue to play, I don't think I'll be fighting anyone again. Another really cool aspect of the combat is when the enemy attacks, it brings up this little minigame where you become this little heart and have to dodge out of the way of incoming projectiles. It almost becomes like a reverse bullet hell game when it's the enemy's turn, and each enemy has a different way of firing projectiles at you that you have to learn to dodge. Aside from the combat, as I mentioned earlier, there are also some fun little puzzles like mazes, finding and pressing switches in the correct order, and some that essentially just act as gag puzzles to make you laugh. And the gameplay outside of that, you're basically just exploring this linear world and talking to NPCs along the way to learn more about the monsters that inhabit this realm that you found yourself in. I can already tell that this game is going to really shine in its story beats. The characters so far have all been extremely well designed and lovable. Even the evil flower in the beginning had a ton of personality and charm, even though he was trying to kill me. My favorite characters so far are who I will call the Skelebros, Sans, and Papyrus. They had more personality than any character I've seen in an RPG in recent memory and were extremely funny to watch interact with each other. I can't yet tell exactly where the story's going to head with this game, but I have heard over and over, without any spoilers of course, that the story ends up being truly amazing. Now, the graphics are definitely where this game is the least groundbreaking in my opinion, but if you love pixelated graphics like I do, you'll love this game's art style. Even though everything was pixelated and super simplistic, it didn't take anything at all away from the game in my opinion. These could be the most gorgeous 3D models and environments ever created, and I'd probably still like the game just the same amount because of how much the other aspects of the game make it shine. You know what, in fact, I think this game's graphics are truly part of its charm. I wouldn't want them to be changed even if they could be changed. Alright, you guys, I think I found it. The greatest gaming soundtrack of all time. I can't even begin to tell you how much I loved all the songs in this game. I'm literally sitting here listening to the soundtrack as I type this review script, and here, just take a listen. Yeah, how can you not fall in love with this game's music after hearing that masterpiece? And that's just one of the songs. I also really appreciated how the music and sound effects sounded retro to match the game's graphics. Really, everything was sensationally done all the way around. I wasn't really able to hide my thoughts as I described the game, was I? This game's a masterpiece, honestly. I loved every aspect of it. The gameplay is great, the music is fire, the graphics are charming, the characters and story are already hilarious and touching. It is truly the whole package. If you still haven't played this game for yourself yet, like I hadn't, please go do it. It's worth every penny and every second of your time. Speaking of value, according to howlongtobeat.com, this game takes about 7 hours to beat and 21 hours to complete. Now, is that relatively short? Yes, but in this case, I can only assume it will certainly be quality over quantity. Even if it's short, if every single minute, every single NPC encounter, every single round of combat is engrossing, it's well beyond worth it. I mean, guys, this game is literally only $10 on Steam, and I've seen it on sale for half that price in the past. In my opinion, the $10 price tag could be worth it for just the soundtrack alone. And honestly, I would have felt okay paying a full $60 for this game. This game easily gets a 10 out of 10 for me, and even dethrones God of War 2018 for games that I've reviewed in this format. I know it's kind of insane to say that this indie title can replace such a great AAA game, but what's even more insane to me is that I haven't played this game yet until now. If I refunded this game, I might as well burn my PC to the ground and give up on gaming as a hobby forever. I will be replaying this game. In fact, I'll be doing so as soon as I'm finished with this review. The fact that it was able to impress me this much in just the first 2 hours is insane. I think I'm in love. So, what do you think? Does this game warrant me gushing over it like this? If you haven't played it yet, why not? Let me know down in the comments. Also, be sure to check out my live first impressions video of the game where I streamed myself playing for the first 2 hours on Twitch and edited that down for your viewing pleasure as well. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like and sub button if you enjoyed, and I'll see y'all later.